This is the channel for the woman who's done playing small, the woman who knows there's a fire in her belly, a voice in her bones, and a destiny she's done apologizing for. If you're ready to unleash the woman you were born to be, hit subscribe and join the movement. I'm Leona Schrock, and let's rise together.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Okay, I'm going to spare you from singing. It's not. I'm going to take singing lessons in 2026 because I love to sing. My girls have informed me that it's not my zone of genius and I'm not gifted in that area. And I'm going to prove them wrong that I'm actually very gifted in that area. I just haven't exercised my talent. That being said, today I am teaching my mastermind class of Unlock Your Power, and it's on vision board. Now, it's not really so much about the vision board as it is about your identity and your desires, and how often our vision board isn't becoming a reality because we aren't tapped into our desires and the identity of who we truly are. And so, in that being said, I remember for years I used to create a vision board and I created it. I remember the very first time I created a vision board, I was at an event. It was one of my first coaches. It was like 7 years ago, and it was so much fun. I was so fired up. And the next year rolled around, not much of the vision board had become a reality. But I still continued to do them because they were fun. It was inspiring. It was motivating. I couldn't really understand where the disconnect was and what was happening. Last year, not 2025, but in 2024, I created 3 vision boards. They became a reality so quickly. This year, I created 2 vision boards because my vision board actually sat there for, I think it was almost 3 months with nothing on it, because as my visions become a reality, I will take it down, the picture down. And I was procrastinating because I know what happens and I know what goes into. And so this is what I teach in my vision, Unlock Your Power, Break Your Rules, and Create Your Dream. And we all have inner rules and inner belief systems, but I want to talk about your desires today because they are so sacred and they are so important. And if you grew up in religious programming, then you were taught that your desires are dangerous. And I remember the very first time that, and you'll hear me talk about this in class, it was, time goes on. So I'm not exactly sure. I feel like it was around 4 years ago where I was sitting in one of my mentors' rooms, because one thing that is ultimately my superpower that I do, and you have the same superpower. And I was just asked this question last week about one of the rooms that I went to. I will get myself into the room to grow. I will put myself in positions to grow. I, where there's a will, there's a way. And yeah, I got that from my grandma. She was a very like packed with a punch woman. And even though she was Amish, that woman was fierce. And so was my mama. So thank you. That is a good generational blessing that I received. Anyways, with that being said, she asked me, she's like, what are the desires of your heart? And I burst into tears, like burst into tears. And I'm like, I, I don't I don't know what the desires of my heart are. I have no idea. And I already had like I was raising my kids, and it's like I was a full grown, almost 6 foot tall, 5'11" woman with, I am now 44. So this was around 40. And I don't know what my desires are. And I felt my world crumble of, how do I not know what my desires are? And now, upon being a coach and doing identity work and working with my clients, I have come to discover, and anything that you deal with or struggle with in life, others do as well. It's the saying, if you're not so special that you're the only one, but you really are so special. Just you need that little side note today. Anyways, but I see this in my clients big time. And this doesn't even show up just with women. This also shows up with men who don't really know. It's that I'm going to back it up. It's not that you don't know what the desires of your heart are. It's they have been suppressed and they have not been given room to breathe and allow yourself to experience them and allow yourself to see them and acknowledge them and allow them to have a space to show up in your world. So in that, typically what happens is when you come from religious programming, you are told In the cult-like religion, you are told who to be and how to be. It's not that you are given the space where you get to explore who God designed you to be, what are your gifts, what are your desires, and you get to tap into that. And so you have learned how to bypass yourself and you're disconnected from yourself. But then when those desires start to bubble up, and I'm going to talk about one of the desires that I see a lot of times, and I had one of my clients say this to me last week, and I just so freaking celebrated this so big. His client says to me, I am no longer apologizing for my dream and the money that I want. So wealth is something that shows up big time where people tend to apologize. I know that I did it for a very long time because it's just be content with what you have. And there's so many stories around being rich and having a big dream and making a big impact. And it's these subliminal, subconscious messages that have been programmed on the inside of you where you now shrink yourself. It's greedy to want more. You're being selfish. Just be thankful for what you have. Why do you always gotta ask for more? And yet at the same time, we're saying we serve such a big God, and God is abundant, is a God of miracles, yet we're living such a small life. The math is not mathing. What is going on here? So let's bring you over to your desires, have you tap into them. And you're going to want, if you want to go deeper into this, click the link below and where you can get my class. And I have powerful questions in there for you. There's a whole class. It's very powerful. It's very activating. You can listen to it over and over. You're just going to want it. It's something that I realized that 2 years ago on New Year's Eve, I completely did my vision board very different. And that is what activated me very differently. I was very, very, very intentional. So I was not at home. I was in Tennessee and I was at a hotel and I had this whole thing where I had this beautiful setup and I journaled and I went deep and I invested in myself and I bought this mastermind class. It was on a vision board and I integrated all of it. And I created my vision board. I did my journaling and I showed up for myself. And that is where the identity shift started happening. I gave myself permission. And it was only the tip of the iceberg of what my desires are. Here's the thing is when you start tapping inside of yourself and you start giving yourself permission to tap into your desires, because your desires are God given. God gave those desires for you, to you, for a purpose and a reason. And your desires go way beyond what you can even see at the surface. Your desires are connected to the identity of who God has designed you to be. Everything, just like in nature, and you'll go outside and you see the beauty of this world, there is beauty in your internal world. And there is a reason and there is a season and everything, the details, everything is intertwined and interwebbed for a higher and a bigger purpose. And I'm going to have you tap into that because when you tap into your desires and your identity, you detach from your vision board and that just ends up becoming your reality. So for example, I had last year place that I wanted to go to Florida, and then I knew the wedding to Italy was coming up. But so I want to share a little bit of a story. And if you've listened to my podcast, you know this, but I ended up going to Florida at the cost, taking my kids at the cost of just buying the stuff and the plane tickets because I was connected to it was one of my past cleaning clients who we are like family now. They have a place down in Florida and they gifted us with letting us stay there, all the different things. The thing is it's not any of your business how things come forward in your vision board. These are a few fun things that I'm sharing with you. Then with Italy, I was going to go out to the wedding. I didn't really know how I was fully going to swing like the whole trip. My girlfriend came to me and gifted me with traveling with her for another 10 days. No, we were out there for 10 days. The wedding it was 7 days that we traveled. I think it was 6 or 7 days because it was the wedding and then we traveled for another 6 or 7 days. Never in a million years did I see that one coming. Like I didn't. I just knew that when I went out to Italy, I wanted to travel more and do more bigger things. And so that's a snapshot that this doesn't have to be travel. Like I have so many fun things. I look at my vision board that I just created probably like a month ago. And I'm so obsessed and in love with my vision board now. And it also makes my heart beat really fast because my vision board is so raw, real, and vulnerable. And I also know that is with the desires tapped deep within inside of my heart, which is going to call me forward and connect me deeper with the identity of who I am. And there are big visions on there. Like one of the visions, I have a photo shoot of me on there, and it's in the top 10 podcasts. That's a huge vision by the end of 2026. And then it's with my company, where I'm going and how much I'm making per month and like how many people that I'm impacting. And there's more that I'm not going to share yet. That's on there. But anyways, but it can be, and it's buying a home and I'm leaving Ohio and there's all these different things and it is outside of my comfort zone, but there's also a conviction that is behind it. So, but it's giving yourself the permission to tap into your desires. Here's where we oftentimes will stop ourselves and don't really truly give ourselves permission. And this is where the deep inner work comes in. I can ask you, what is your desire? You might at a surface level know what your desire is coming more from a conditioned state because you have stories that have been protecting you, that have been suppressing those desires. What it's more going into the deeper activating questions of what is your belief system around your desires and do you feel like you're worthy of them? Do you feel like you deserve them? Do you feel like you truly can have them? Or do you cut out the pictures and place it on your vision board in hopes of one day it happening? Or are you tapped into having the faith of a mustard seed and tapped into the certainty of knowing that if God placed it on your heart, then it's going to come into your world? Because we want to unwrap the stories that are wrapped around your desires. Because when you tap into giving yourself the permission for the desires, you tap into the identity of the version of you that has that. And it's not that you're becoming somebody different. It's that you're unraveling and unwrapping who you've been at the core all along before conditioning ever got hold of you and grabbed you and taught you differently. And this is where, when you've heard it said, detach from the outcome. And this is something that I'm still working on. Not so much in my vision board of detaching from the outcome as it is in my business when I'm creating something and doing something, is going deep in my inner knowing and going deep in my inner trust and believing deeply, deeply in myself. And your self-confidence and your self-esteem and your inner value, your self-worth is all going to show up when it comes to your vision board and your belief. The how is none of your business. That is a safety mechanism that you have created within inside of you to keep you safe from feeling disappointed. Because at some point in time, you have been let down and you don't want to experience or feel that again. So if you can strategically place the how in place, that will keep you safe and make sure that you can be certain that it's going to happen. But what if you can be certain without being attached and addicted to the how? What if you can be certain because you have so much trust and you have so much belief in yourself that it's not really about getting the thing, it's about knowing and being so tapped deeply inside of yourself that you know that you have the ability to create your dream life. By you showing up every single day and you renewing your mind, because it does take inner work. I'm so tired of this instant hit that has conditioned. I love social media. I use social media. I am one of the first people that will tell you it's going to require you to show up and do the inner work. Now, there is a time and a place. It's not that you are always doing the inner work and you're not living. You are leaving healing and you're going into embodiment and you're living your life and you're showing up fully as yourself and you're doing the things, and the shifts and the changes are what follow. Okay. This is not about you getting it perfect. This is not about you doing one more thing. This is about tapping deep inside of yourself, deep inside of your identity, and deep inside of your truth. There is a discomfort that comes with all of this, but you're going to start showing up because the magic is already on the inside of you. You are the magic. You don't need to know the how. The how is far beyond what you ever need to know. The how, God's got the how. And I'm one of the first ones that says, if you're always saying, I'm just waiting on God, let me just pray about it, that's your crutch. Drop the crutch. Let it go. You already have it in you. You have everything that you need within inside of you to make the things happen. You show up and do the things, and God provides for the rest. But let me ask you the question. Do you trust and do you truly believe that God is going to provide the rest? As that also comes along with the desires. And this is why it's important for you to get into my class, because I take you deep into this, and I give you the journaling prompts, and I give you the questions, and I go deeper into the explanation of the conditioning of it. But if you're like, well, I'm just watching this video right now, I want you to ask yourself few potent questions that are going to activate this on the inside of you and are going to take you deeper into your desires. And then go create the vision board and be the Pinterest girl that you have, I was going to say drawn up, created, because you are her. It's just that you're connecting deeper with yourself, and you're giving yourself permission for her to show up more and more, because we have been so conditioned to shrink ourselves and make ourselves smaller. So the first question that I'm going to ask you is, do you feel safe to experience the life of your dreams? If you were to sit down and journal everything in your dream life, do you feel like you are worthy and deserving of that? What are the emotions that come up when you journal that? The second question that I'm going to have you ask yourself is, what's the belief system that I have currently that gets to shift and change that I can receive this dream life? What do you feel like is standing in your way between here and then? What are your habits? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What are you doing daily? And what are you believing about yourself? That being said, I will see you next episode. Remember, go experience the magic in today. You are the magic. It is the most magical time of the year. It's such a beautiful time of the year. Go take a breather, go in your childlike wonder, and go experience the beauty of today.